Okay, so if I wanted to create a free tier account in the GCP, first thing is that go to any browser, guys. I suggest you to go to the Google Chrome. So once you go to the Google Chrome, so open the incognito mode. Click on the incognito mode, go to the incognito mode and search with Google Cloud. Okay, you will be able to open this first page. Click on the first link and you see here get started for free. Click on that and it is asking for you to enter your existing email, or if you wanted to create a new dummy account you can click on the bottom one. So either you can do two things, guys. If you wanted to enter your existing Gmail, whatever the Gmail you have for your own personal accounts, you can actually use that. No, 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 sir. I wanted to create my own Gmail account for this particular account purpose, or for this particular free tier purpose. You can actually create that as well. Okay, so I'm going to tell you how to create a dummy account here. I don't want it to use the existing account, so that is the reason I'm going to create a dummy account. If you have your one dummy account, you can actually use that as well. Okay, see here, create account. I'm going to click on that. So that is for your existing account. This is for your dummy account. I'm going to click on for my personal use. Enter the dummy account details. Some details you can enter. Random details I'm entering, guys, here. Okay, so get a Gmail instead. So create your own Gmail address. So this is my Gmail address from now on. Create some password. Just follow all the steps, guys, one by one. That's it. You will be able to create it easily. Enter some recovery email address. The phone number. Click on next. That's it. Your account, Google account has created. Okay. So an account has created for us. Now this is what has happened now, guys. See, if I wanted to create an account, right? So there are two steps. Okay, if I wanted to create a dummy account, there are two steps. One is Google Cloud account. Okay, we need to create a Google account. Next thing is that we need to activate it. Okay, we need to activate for free trial. So these are the two steps that we need to follow, guys. These are the two steps. This step is not mandatory. This particular step is not mandatory. It's because if you have an existing Gmail, you can directly log into the Google Cloud. Okay, sir, I have a Gmail address for my, which is my personal one. Can I use it directly? Yes, you can use it. But I suggest you to create this dummy account. I have created a dummy account, you might have seen, right? So I have created a plenty of dummy accounts so far. Okay, so first thing is that you go to the browser, and search with the Google Cloud and click on the Google Cloud and get started for free and create a dummy account, which is a Google Cloud account you have successfully created now. And after that, we need to activate this account for free trial. Okay, so that is our second step. So if you wanted to activate this for free trial, in this one, there are two steps. Step one is there, step two is there. Let us try to see what are those steps. Okay, so see here. Okay, there are two steps. We wanted to activate for free trial. There are two steps. This is our step one. So in the step one, very simple. We just have to select the country as well as the organization need. And organization need, you can select it. Anything you can select it. There is no doubt. There is no problem at all. Click on continue. Similarly, you are in the second step. So in the second step is the important step where we have to enter our credit card or debit card details. Okay, so first select the account type as individual, and here enter your credit card details. I suggest you to go with the credit card because it will be easily created. I have entered my credit card details. You also enter your credit card details. And after that, at the bottom, you have a tax information. Select the unregistered individual. Click on start my free trial. So when you have given your credit card or debit card details, you need to do the verification. Okay, you need to complete the OTP transaction. So that is where the 2 rupees is not for anything, it's only for the verification purpose that you are a valid user, you are a valid Google Cloud user. So that is the reason they are going to do this 2 rupees transaction. Okay, other than that, these 2 rupees will be again credited to you after maybe 7 days or 10 days. It will be credited to your respective account. So that is what happens, guys. Okay, so see here, we have selected, first we have selected the business type, account type as individual, and after that we have to enter the card details. I have entered all the card details and entered tax information and registered individual. Click on start my free trial, and this is where enter your CVV and complete the transaction of 2 rupees. Also make sure that while you are doing the transaction, on the right side how much amount of money it is going to be debiting. It should be only 2 rupees, guys. For me it is only 2 rupees. You can also make sure that while you are doing the transaction, you you also properly see that how much money it is going to be debiting. Enter the OTP properly. Click on proceed. That's it. Okay, so that is the important step. Once you have done that, finishing the project setup. That means if you are able to see this message, if you are able to see this message, that means your account is got activated with the free tier account. Okay, so if you are able to see this message, your free trial includes $300 in credit for spend over 90 days, guys. For next 90 days, you can actually use the same account. So this is what, if you are seeing this message, that means your account is created and activated for free trial status. Okay, and select some random options here. Okay, we may have to select a few random options here. Let us try to select it. Select anything. So that is how you will be able to see this page. You can also see on the middle that you are in free trial, and out of that means total 24,580 rupees are credited to your free trial account, guys. So this is what happened. Okay, so whenever you create a free trial account, it gives you $300, and it is almost 24,000 plus. Okay, that you can actually spend over for next 90 days. So this is what you can use it, guys. Okay, any questions, anyone? If anyone are trying out to create a free trial account, let me know, guys, if you are facing any issues. Okay, so this is a very simple process. The very first step is that we create a dummy account, and then once the account is created, we activate it with the free trial. Once we activate it with the free trial, there are two steps: step one and step two. Once you complete it, your account is gets created. Okay, and activated with $300 for next 90 days. For next 90 days. Okay, so this is the benefit that you are going to get it. These free credits, you can actually use it for almost all the services. There is no restriction on it. You can use any service for practice purpose. Okay, there is no restriction on any of the service. You can use all the services. Maybe if you go for free trial as AWS or Azure, there are few services restriction will be there, but with the Google Cloud Platform you do not have any restriction. Okay, so this is how you have to create your account, sir. Any questions? Do we have any question, guys?
No.
Okay, that's great. So I'm going to share this link with you guys so that you guys can create an account. So this is the link. I'm going to share it with you in the chat. So try to create this free tier account. Follow this link and try to create a dummy account, guys. Okay, and activate it with that debit card or credit card. And in our upcoming sessions, we are going to practice in there only. Okay. So let me know if you guys have any questions now. Otherwise, we're gonna start with the next topic. Do we have any questions?
No questions.
Okay, great. So let me gonna start with our next topic. That is IAM and admin. Let me open that. So in our yesterday's session, we have seen what is locations, right? So Google's infrastructure, the entire Google's infrastructure is divided into 5 locations. These 5 locations are further divided into regions. Regions are further divided into zones. If I talk a location, it is a multi-region. You will be having a multiple regions in the location, and each region will be having its own multiple zones. Each zone is connected to the one more zone via high bandwidth network for the fault tolerance purpose and for the replication purpose also. And each zone will be having its resources. That's what we call as a data center, and it will be having the virtual resources as well as physical resources. And we have seen the what is region, what is zone, and the selection criteria is first thing is that whenever you wanted to deploy or create a resources, we need to select the proximity of the region or zone to your target users or the customers. Second point is that to help protect against the unexpected failures, try to deploy your application across multi-regions or multi-zones. Try to understand the pricing and availability of the services across the different regions and different zones, because the cost as well as the availability may vary from region to region or zone to zone. Okay, so these are the things going to happen, guys. Okay, in today's session, we are going to start with one more topic, that is GCP, IAM, and admin, which is also a very, very important topic, guys. So if you wanted to, in terms of the security perspective, we are going to use the GCP, IAM, and admin. Let me gonna tell you about it. See, in Google Cloud Platform, if you are working in some project, assume that you are working in some project. Okay, so this is some project that you are working on. Okay, try to understand a small concept. So when you are working in a project, there will be a multiple developers will be there. Dev one, so developer one, developer two, developer three, are test and tester one, tester two, tester three. Something like that. You will be having a plenty of people working in your project. Okay, what is whenever you wanted to work on a project, we are going to work on the Google Cloud platform. This project is related to the GCP. Okay, we are going to do the data engineering activities on top of the GCP platform, Google Cloud platform. Okay, so what things happen in the company is that, for example, when these people are working on the GCP, this guy may be doing some development in some service. These developers are doing some kind of a development in different services. This guy is doing some kind of a testing on those services. So whenever a one trying to access any of the resource in the GCP, if a developer or a tester or anyone, if you wanted to access any resource in the GCP, you need to have a proper access to that particular service or permission, I would say. So, sir, I wanted to this developer working on the BigQuery, this developer working on the Dataproc, this developer working on the Google Cloud Storage. So, if anyone wanted to work on different services in the GCP, they need to have a proper permission to work on that. Otherwise, they cannot be able to use those services for any kind of an activity. Okay, sir, I have a developers. I wanted to provide a permission to them. So what I have to do, sir? Sir, these are the developers. Assume that I am the project manager of the project. So, sir, we have total 3 developers are there and 1 tester is there. We wanted to provide the permission to the BigQuery, Dataproc, Google Cloud Storage so that they can access these services for the development purpose. They can access these services for the development purpose. So what we have to do, sir? In that scenario, whenever you wanted to provide the permissions or whenever you wanted to provide the access, any access control, any authorization, if you wanted to do it, you have to go to the IAM and admin in the GCP. Okay, IAM and admin is the one of the important access control or a security perspective, where if you wanted to provide access to anyone to any of the service in the GCP, we have to go to the IAM and admin. Okay, so we have to provide the access to the each and everyone via IAM and admin. IAM and admin talks about the authorization. Authorization means who can do what on which resource. Who? This is who can do what, whether they're going to do the do means either it is editing, I mean that means editor options, or viewing. Can do what means this one, sir. Who can do what on which resource? So the IAM talks about who can do what on which resource. Who means either it can be a user or a group of users. Can do means what they can do it if they wanted to edit something, if they wanted to view something. So those things are nothing but a can do what. And on which resource means there are different resources are there in the GCP, right? Either it is BigQuery, Dataproc, Dataflow, all of those things. So those are the services. So I am talking about authorization. If you wanted to provide access to a person or a group of persons, you have to go to the IAM, sir. In a simple words, if you have to say that. So let us try to see in a very detail. Sir, IAM, I means identity and access management. So GCP IAM is not IAM is not only for the GCP guys. Even if you go for the Azure also, you will be having the IAM. If you go to the AWS also, you will be having the IAM. IAM is nothing but identity and access management. The name itself it is saying that here we are going to talk about the identities and the access, and they are going to manage everything here. Let us try to see each and everything in a very detail. So with IAM, we can manage the access control by defining who has what type of an access for which resource. IAM talks about the authorization. By default, whenever, for example, sir, there is a one project, I have recently joined in a project, assume that so you have joined in one of the company, so you are very new to the company at all. You have joined in one of the company, you got a job in one of the company, they have added to you one of the project. So you are a developer now. With all other people, you are also a developer. So there are plenty of developers is there. They already have the access because they are already working in the project. But whenever you have joined into that particular project, by default, you will be having zero access to every resource. For every resource in the GCP, by default, you will be having zero access. You will not be having any access to any of the service in the GCP, even though you have your account created. Even though your account is created, also you will be having zero access. Okay, so by default, you are not going to get any access to any of the service in the GCP. If you wanted to access any of the things, someone has to provide it. Your project manager has to provide the access, or your project admin has to provide the access. So that's where you are going to get some access. Okay, so that access, if I wanted to provide it again, we have to go to the IAM and admin. Okay, any access, if one wanted to provide it to any person, to any resource in the GCP, we have to do it via IAM only. So the very important step is that by default, you are going to get zero access. When you're joining in a company and they are tagged to one of the GCP projects, sir, do I get all the permissions to work with resources? No. You are a new person, you do not know what to do in the GCP. And if you are misusing the access, there will be a plenty of the problems. Data leakage, data loss may happen. So first, that is the reason they're going to train you for at least 1 week, and after that they're going to be providing you the access to work on the resources. Okay, so that is the reason they will give you zero access. Not only it's the projects are like that. Every project when they are tagged to you, you will be having a zero access. They have to provide the access one by one, so that you will be getting a full access to the each and every resource, so that you can work on it. Okay, so all of those things can be done via IAM only. So IAM talks about the authorization. In simple words, if I have to tell you about IAM, it talks about who can do what on which resource. Let us try to understand who is this who can do what they can do on which resources, how many resources we have. Let us try to understand. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, so let us start, guys. So in IAM, sir, what is meant by identities? How to provide the access? How to manage the project? Let us try to understand each and everything in a detail. Sir, identities. In IAM, I stands for identities or principles. You can also call identities or principles. Where is this terminology coming from? In IAM, I stands for identities or principles. Sir, an identity can be a user account or a service account or a group of accounts. An identity can be a service account or a user account or a group of accounts. So it is like this, guys. For example, whatever the account that you have, just now we have created one account, right? So that account is nothing but a user account. I told you how to create a free tier account. That account is nothing but a user account, sir. A user account is nothing but a human account. It is an account of a human. So if I wanted to do any kind of activities in the GCP, I am going to use this my human account. I am going to log into the Google Cloud platform and interact with the services. Okay, on the other hand, we have a service account. Service account. What is service account, sir? A service account is an inhuman account. It is not a human account, sir. It is an inhuman account. It is actually an account of an application or a service. So what is this service account? If you ask me, sir, it is an account of some service. Or some application. So it is an account of a service or an application. So why the service account is needed? So service accounts are very useful whenever we wanted to do some kind of a data engineering activities. Okay, we can't use the user account all the time. So if you wanted to integrate the services automatically, sir, you are going to create some pipeline tomorrow. Maybe maybe you have some service loading the data to some more service, finally loading the data to the some more service. So this is an end-to-end pipeline. So whenever you wanted to integrate these systems automatically or programmatically, so assume that this service one loading the data to the service two. If service one and service two wanted to integrate with each other programmatically, we need the service account. Okay, anything in the GCP, if one wanted to do any activity, they need the permission. As I told you, right? Anything in the GCP needs a permission to do it. Without the permission, we cannot be able to do it. If I wanted to store the data, I need the permission. If the pipeline is moving the data from one service to the one more service, the pipeline needs to have the permission. Okay, so assume that, sir, it is a human account. Sir, I am a human user account. Sir, I have GCS. I wanted to load this data to the BigQuery. So this is one of the service, sir, BigQuery. Okay, we are not getting into the detail. In our upcoming sessions, you will be getting to know more about it. What is GCS, how to load the data to the BigQuery. Now let's not get into the details, but try to understand it that GCS is one of the service, BigQuery is one of the service. I wanted to move the data from the GCS to BigQuery. So if you wanted to move the data from GCS to BigQuery, try to understand that first thing as a data engineer or as a project when you are working on it, you need to have a permission to access the GCS. First thing, you need to have a permission to access the GCS. Second thing, you need to have a permission to access the BigQuery. You are doing it manually, sir. You as a data engineer, your activity is to move the data from the GCS to BigQuery. So you need to have a proper access to the GCS. You need to have a proper permission to access the BigQuery. That is one more thing. And you need to know how to do that. So then only you will be able to do it. So to do all of this activity, to get this permission, you can use your service. You can use your user account. Okay, you can use your user account. So when you join in a project, so you will tell your admin saying that I am working on the GCP and BigQuery project. So I need the access to the GCS as well as BigQuery. Can you provide the necessary access? Then they will provide you the necessary access to this account. They will assign the access to this particular account. Whenever you are logging in with this account, you will be able to access this particular GCS as well as BigQuery. If you wanted to move the data, you can able to successfully do that. Okay, so where they are giving the access, they are providing the permissions, they are providing the access to this particular user account. Okay, access will be provided to the user accounts only. Okay, so that is how whenever you are using this account, you will be having an access. And sir, I have one more account also. Can I get the access? No. So whatever the account you have the access, whatever the account they have provided you the access, you will be only getting the access to that particular service. Okay. So again, sir, can I use the data proc now? Again, sir, I have a one more project, one more service also, that is Dataproc. Can we access this Dataproc? No. Because in your project, you are only working on the GCS and BigQuery. Your admin only provided the access to the GCS and BigQuery to your user account. If you are trying to access the Dataproc, the access will be revoked. You cannot be able to access that. Your access will be revoked. So that is how your user accounts are very useful to do any activity in the GCP. Your user account supposed to have the proper permissions to use the any of the service in the GCP. Okay, so this is what is user account. On the other hand, we have a service account. Okay, service account. Service accounts are very useful whenever you wanted to, whenever some activity wanted to, whenever you wanted to achieve something programmatically. Okay, sir, whenever you wanted to achieve something programmatically, so that is, sorry guys. For example, assume that you have pipeline. So there is some streaming, some batch pipeline is there. So what is this batch pipeline is doing that? It is moving the data from GCS to BigQuery, BigQuery to Looker. So this is a end-to-end pipeline, sir. End-to-end pipeline. In this end-to-end pipeline, so assume that this end-to-end pipeline every day running at some point of time. Every day running at 3 p.m. Okay, it is automatically running. How it is running, sir? This particular pipeline is running automatically every day at 3 p.m. Okay, 1 minute, sir. Okay, so this particular pipeline is running at every day at some 3 p.m. Try to understand that. So while at the 3 p.m. what it will do is that the GCS data will be moved to the BigQuery. BigQuery stable data will go to the Looker, so that in the Looker the dashboard will be getting created. The dashboard will be updated every day, so that the users can access this dashboard. Okay, so that is what is the end-to-end pipeline. Now try to understand that. As I told you, everything in the GCP goes via permission only. Okay, whenever this pipeline is running, okay, so we need to ensure that this whenever the code is running, the pipeline is nothing but a code only, right, sir? Don't think that pipeline is anything. Pipeline is nothing but a code that we are going to see in our upcoming sessions how to create that code. So whenever this pipeline is running, it has to move the data from the GCS to BigQuery. But who given you the permission to do that? First thing. And BigQuery to the Looker, who given you the permission to do that? So pipeline is start moving the data from the GCS to BigQuery. But does the pipeline is having the access to do that? Pipeline is moving the data from the BigQuery to the Looker. Does the pipeline have the access to do that? So that's where the service account come into the picture. Okay, the service accounts are for this purpose only. So service accounts is nothing but an account of a service, an account of an application, which is very useful to interact with the services and authenticate them and integrate them programmatically. So programmatically, the service account is going to interact with each and every service and provide the authentication, so that data will be moved from the GCS to the BigQuery to the Looker. So what they will do is that service account is an account similar to your user account. Also, you will be having service account, but we can use any number of service accounts. We can create service account. Unlike user account only specific to that particular user. Okay, user account is only specific to that particular user, but service account you can create any number of service accounts. Okay, what is the main importance of the service account is that, sir, in this service account I wanted to do some authentication to my pipeline. So this service account, you will create it and you are going to provide the permissions to it. What permissions? Same thing. GCS to BigQuery, GCS permission, BigQuery permission, Looker permission. So that while the pipeline is running, the pipeline uses this service account for the authentication purpose, so that this GCS and BigQuery can integrate with each other programmatically. Okay, so this GCS as well as BigQuery, if they wanted to interact with programmatically, they need the authentication for that. That authentication is done by a service account. We can also use the user account here, but user account will be having more permissions this one, because for this only this particular activity you can create a service account. Okay, you can create some dummy service account, and you can, while pipeline is running, you provide this for service account, so that we already have the permissions to this service account. The service account can automatically integrate and authenticate it, so that GCS data will be moved to the BigQuery, BigQuery data will be moved to the Looker. So this is how a service account is very useful for authentication purpose. Okay, so this is what we call as a service account, sir. On the other hand, we have a third thing, that is group of accounts. As I told you, group of account is nothing but a group of human beings, sir. Human accounts. Sorry. Group of accounts. Third, in identities, we have three things, right? If you go to identities, an identity can be a user account or a service account or a group of accounts. A group of account is nothing but when you are working in a project, you will be having multiple developers. Developer 1, developer 2, developer 3. The access to them is similar, right? You have, for example, assume that developer 4 also. So when they are working in a same project, the permissions and all the things are same. So instead of providing the permissions individually, I will create them as a one group. I will create them as a one group. That group is nothing but a group of accounts. Google group, you call it as a group of accounts. This group, you will be directly providing the permission. Okay, so that is what we call it as a group of accounts. Okay, end of the day, we need to provide the permission so that the users can have an access to the particular services to do their work on it. Okay, now either it is a user account or a group of accounts or a service account, we need to provide the permission so that it can have an authentication to that particular service. Okay, it will be having an authorization to that particular services. Okay, if it is a user account, you will be directly assigning the permissions. If it is a service account, you will be directly doing the permissions. If it is a group of accounts, first you will try to create a group, and to that group, instead of now, you don't go to the every user, we do go to the group only, and we provide the permission to the group. Okay, so this is how you will be having a permission to the each and everyone. Okay, so in IAM, I stands for identities or principles. Identity can be a user account, it can be a service account, and it can be a group of accounts. So an identity can be a individual user account or a group of users with similar roles or responsibilities. An identity can also refer to the service account, which is an account used by the applications and services to authenticate it and interact with the GCP resources programmatically. Okay, so this is what is identities, guys. So identity can be a user account or a service account or a group of accounts. Right? Yeah. Anyone have any questions until this one? If you guys have any questions, you can ask me, guys.
I have one question, sir. On the service
please.
account, who maintains and creates a service account?
So you can also create your service account for your project if you have a permission to do that, or there will be an admin, they will be creating it for you.
In general, if I give a user ID and if I give application access like BigQuery, if I give access to application, that itself is authentication, right? Why the service account is introduced in between?
No, again, we are not talking about the users. Okay, we are not talking about the users. See, user account is different purpose. The The user account is mainly to authenticate with the services manually. So if you are interacting with the GCP services, you can actually use the user account. But the service account is for the service. Okay, the
Oh,
service
okay.
account is for the service means don't think about the service of a GCP. Some
Okay, I
activity you
understand.
are doing it, that activity you have the authentication.
Like a third party, like if I give a third party API, that's a resource accessing using the
You can
service
also
account.
use third party. That is also one thing. So it's like not like that. See, for example, say I wanted to move the data from the GCS to BigQuery. Think like this. You can do it manually. While you are doing it, you will use user account. When I'm automating it using pipeline, I can also still use my user account. But do you think your user account have a restricted to access to the GCS and BigQuery? No, your user account will be having an access to all other services also. But for this particular activity, I wanted to have only the access to the restricted these two services. Okay, I don't want it to misuse the services. Even the pipeline, if I give my user account, my pipeline may have access to all other services also. It may misuse it. So that is the reason what we do is that for this particular activity, we try to create a service account. And
Understood.
while the pipeline is running, it will authenticate it via service account automatically. So this is one way of understanding it. And one more way is that assume that you have a data in the BigQuery and there is a Power BI team. Which Power BI is a third-party tool, outside tool to the GCP. It is there in the Azure or somewhere you can think of. Power BI, the developer Power BI team, they wanted to create some kind of a dashboards. Okay, if they wanted to create a dashboard, they need the data, and they wanted to access this data from the BigQuery. But BigQuery does not provide the access directly. BigQuery does not provide the access directly. So this is a Power BI. Do you give your user account to them? You can't give
No.
your user account, right? So if you give your user account, they will use your user account for the all other services and they will misuse the access. So you don't give the your user account. What do? You try to create a some account, and this service account only having the access to this BigQuery now, because this service account, the main sole purpose of this service account is to provide the access to the BigQuery so that the Power BI team will have the data access. So you will create a service account and you will give that service account to this one, so that now you will also provide the permission so that they will be having access to the BigQuery. Okay, I think this is clear now.
Yeah, understood. Yeah, thank you, sir.
Yeah. Any other questions, anyone?
So when we give you one more question, sir, when we give users, so there should be a permission list, right? Like there should be a lot of
course.
policies, right?
Correct.
Okay.
That will come into the picture. Yes.
Okay. Sure. Okay.
Okay. The next topic is actually the roles and policies. Okay. Yeah. So now I'm going to stop it here, guys. It's already 7:25. So I'm going to stop it here. We will try to continue it. If you guys have any questions on this topic, you can ask me, guys. We have time like 5 minutes. Yeah.
Can you go back next slide, sir? Service account definition.
Okay. It's not a definition. I just wrote it like that. Okay. It's not a proper definition. It's an account of a service, or it is an account used by a service. Okay. Okay. Anyone have any other questions, guys?
This service account
hello,
used
Ram.
by applications, meaning like any .NET application, Java
I
application.
told you, right? The Power BI is one of the application, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello, Rahul.
Yes, please.
So, what are the tools which we will be covering as part of this data engineering in the upcoming days?
So let's not get into the tools again, guys. It's almost a fourth session. So I have told those sessions, let's not waste our time debating on what services we are going to cover. For sure, we are going to cover many services and we are going to get a good understanding of those things. And if you wanted to see it, I think we have the curriculum also. Okay, so we have the curriculum also. You can just to go to the curriculum and try to look at those services what we are covering here. Yeah.
Sir, is there any coding in this area, like for IAM and so on?
For IAM, you can do it. So, sir, I don't wanted to manually provide the permission. Tomorrow, you are going to get to know how to provide the permission. Okay. So tomorrow, if I wanted to provide a permission to user, I'll go to the IAM, and what we will do it. This is manual thing. Sir, can I do it automatically, or can I write it as a code to provide the permission to the user? Yes, you can do that. We can go to the Cloud Shell because we already know if I wanted to do it manually or visually, we can go to the console.
Okay.
Okay. If I wanted to write it command, then we can go to the Cloud Shell. So in a Cloud Shell also you can write it. Yes.
Okay, so you can do with user interface also and console also.
Correct. Console as well as Cloud Shell. Yes.
Sir, like this course 499, we are covering like basic things and
do
so
you think it's basic? It's not basic, guys. It's actually the. So how far I'll go, I'll try to cover almost all the things advanced. Yeah.
okay.
Yes.
So how we can differ between, like I am preparing for associate certificate.
These are very important basic concepts for your associate cloud engineer. I'm telling you. So when we cover the interfaces, right, you will be getting at least one question there, and the locations 1 or 2 questions, and in IAM 2 or 3 questions for sure. 2 questions for sure. Okay. So yeah, all these concepts are very useful for the IAM. So that's the reason. So this course is actually the advanced course. When actually we go for that, is a full-fledged course where it is where it is useful for the certification as well as job ready. Okay. Any other questions, anyone? So this is how we provide the access, guys. See, so now the thing is that we got to know one simple topic, that is what are identities, what are principles. So tomorrow we wanted to provide an access. So you click on grant access. So it is asking add principles. Now we know you should not say, sir, I do not know what are principles. As I told you, an identity or principles both are same. In IAM, I stands for identities or principles. So principal can be a user account or a group of account or a domain account or a service account. Okay. So now you will be providing the, for example, I wanted to provide it to some user. Sir, my name is saizuljani@gmail.com. I wanted to provide an access to this guy. So you add the principal here. So this is how the main purpose of learning the principles is that. So this is a service user account. You can also have some service account here also. So this is a dummy service account. So if you wanted to provide access to a user account or service account, you will be coming to this particular space or area, and you add them as a principals and you assign the role. So tomorrow we will see what is role. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guys. I think I'm going to stop the session here today. Hope you got learned something today, and we will see a few more things tomorrow. Okay.
Sure, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.